Hey guys, what's up? I was watching ReZero like last episode on yesterday. I was like, fuck, I need to talk about this shit. And none of my friends have really seen ReZero, so I was like, fuck it, let me just make a video on it. But yeah, this episode was just like a mind fuck. So let's just begin from the start of the episode. And yeah, and I hopefully I can remember everything I need to say, but yeah, there's so much shit going on. So yeah, the episode began with him trying to run away, yeah, but obviously that shit didn't really work. But there's already a question here: who the fuck saved him at the beginning of the episode, as you can see, and it looked like it was Shawla's attack. Let me just go forward. Yeah, that shit. It happened. It happened on, I can't really remember, episode 3 I think, or 4, where Ram stood before Subaru trying to save him, right? There was like this attack came from Shawla, right? But in the previous episode it looked like she was transformed to some kind of fucking monster, I think. So what the hell is happening here? That's, I think it's Shawla, but you know yeah, she was obviously dead, but at this moment she wasn't really dead, maybe it could be her, yeah. There wasn't really another person with this type of attack, this crazy attack. But yeah, after that he gets swallowed, and when he's down here he finds like, you know, these bees just already, yeah, just killed. And this guy, he's just traumatized, man. Yeah, and this the opening. But there was like some frames, can't really remember right here. Shit, man, I'm trying to find it, the frames. Let me just quickly find it. Shit. I'm not tripping. There was like some, some kind of glitch, or I think I saw in the episode. I'm just crazy, maybe. Let me just. Where is it? What the fuck? I know I'm not tripping. Maybe it happened so fast I didn't really catch on or what. But something happened right here. I could remember. Just there was like some flash shots where it was all gray and. But fuck it. Maybe we'll go back to it. But after the opening, yeah, he's back on the cave, spilling the water, just getting, the miasma, from the witch. And I found out there was actually, he actually opened 4 doors in the novel, but it was changed in the anime. I don't really know why, but online there's kind of a theory where those doors were supposedly to be opened by a person who has all the witch factors, and it will lead to like Satilla's grave or something, because she's obviously sealed in the tower. So I think the reason maybe he could unlock 4 doors. It's not in the anime, right? But if he could, he already has. Let me think. He already has sloth, right? Sloth and yeah, and greed. Yeah, greed. Sloth and greed. And if he had pride, no, he already has envy, right? So that's the three doors checked. And the last one either is maybe pride, you know, so like Betelgeuse at the beginning thought this guy was pride, and it could also be that he also has the gluttony wish factor maybe, if you think about it, because obviously something happened in between where he passed out in the library, and the only person who can take memories so far that we have seen is gluttony, right? So either it's that bitch or somebody else, right? So he kind of interacted with her, I think, when he passed out, and somehow got, you know, or maybe I'm wrong, because I think he also opened the four doors at the beginning, right? Or was it three? Or was he supposed, or is he opening more doors now? Because if he has access to more doors now, the only explanation that could happen is maybe something with gluttony, where he has her witch factor or something, maybe. But yeah, and I don't really know the reason why he's glowing. And then he said, uh, "Don't get in my way" or something, and suddenly he just transforms or gets transported to the beginning of the of the tower, and that really didn't happen in the in episode 3, I think, where they only were in the cave. They just died and it came back. So I think maybe the reason for this is there could be more explanations, right? But one of the explanations could be that the tower is like kind of can function on its own, or maybe he's going on some form of trial, in like season 2 he was also just getting transported to everywhere with the blue light thingaling. I can't really remember, but yeah. And yeah, and let me remember. And another explanation could be, after this the tower gets destroyed. I may It maybe could be that after Charlotte dies or something happens in the tower. It could be that, but yeah, I don't really know why. And yeah, that's when he goes crazy. And I saw a picture of the stairs and edits and so on. My theory was, before I saw it, my theory was, it's kind of crazy, but I knew that somehow he will get his memories erased. I knew that some way or somehow it will happen, one way or another, right? So I thought when he got his memories erased, somehow Betelgeuse or the other guy, Regulus, maybe was taking over his body. Not taking over exactly, but maybe manipulating his body. And yeah, that's why he was so crazy going up the stairs. It could be like a combination of him getting killed and the influence from Sloth, and that's what I thought. But yeah, I really thought also that he will actually kill somebody after he got out. I didn't expect to see. Let me just. I didn't actually expect to see Shola just lying there dead. I thought really she was kind of the only one maybe standing alive. After she transformed. But when I saw this, I was like, maybe she's not dead. Maybe her transformation is like, this is her old body, and now she has like a new beast-like demonic body now, just roaming, just waiting to catch him. Yeah, and this line too, I love if he died somewhere else without my involvement. He knew, he knew he couldn't beat Julius. He was like, okay, I can take on the kids, but not Julius. He has to die somewhere else. Yeah, that was kind of funny and messed up. But yeah, you can see her Ram. She dies in like all these characters die in like a weird way, it's like the corpses. It's not like a normal, in anime you see normal when people died, maybe a sword cut or something. But this looks like somebody ate that person or took somebody out of the, maybe took some organs or some shit. What the fuck? It looks crazy. It's like the gore is insane. And you see like Julius trying to protect Melee. Shit, man. Julius just catching L's in this season, man. Yeah, it could be maybe he was trying to protect her because he's an knight, but there could be something else as to why he was protecting her. But yeah, this just looks crazy without context. And yeah, we see Anastasia. Half of body is there, and it doesn't really make sense how she died twice at the same exact. All the other characters, they died like, you know in kind of a different way as opposed to Anastasia. She maybe she tried to run up the stairs and half her body got cut off and she just fell down. But why is half her body cut down? Like, it's just so random. But yeah, and he didn't find Emilia's and Beatrice's body. Yeah, that's what he said. And there was obviously, if Beatrice died, you can't really know because she just evaporates up to space because she's a spirit, right? So that could be an explanation for as to why I couldn't find Beatrice. But as for Emilia, I don't really know. It could be something where she's possessed by the witch, maybe. Or yeah, I don't really know. Oh yeah, maybe you can see Anastasia going up. Maybe Emilia went all the way up because the Reed guy is there, right? And we don't know if he's dead, but maybe she went all the way up, and she has access to the other. Well, she has, she didn't really defeat Reed, but she had access to the other place. I don't really know where, but the other trial, I guess. But yeah, maybe she has gone all the way up. Who knows? But yeah, he's just sitting there. He's like, fuck. Yeah, and what the fuck? Why is she is the only one alive? It doesn't really make sense. We know that we saw who the culprit was after the scene where he gets killed. It was Rem, but obviously being controlled by Gluttony or something else. But yeah, why why the hell was the Petrus the only character alive? It doesn't really make sense, right? Because maybe it does make sense because it really isn't a threat, right? It's not a human, but there's something going on because when you go later on, he stabs and all of that. But if you go um, right here, let me just go forward. We will talk about the smoke right after this. I just really need to remember what I'm. Yeah, you can see, Petrash pushing him off, and then he gets transported to another place. How the fuck did the dragon or lizard or whatever know? Yeah, how the hell did he know exactly where to push him? So he got, or maybe he didn't really know. He just pushed him, and the tower itself just made a, yeah, made a way for him maybe. But either that or he knows exactly where to push him, and there was a hole right there, or the hole was just, either way where he will push him, the hole will just appear, you know. But yeah, and then he's outside, then obviously Rem. But the person here actually knows him returning by death, and if it's Gluttony eating him and knowing about it, first of all, wouldn't Gluttony go crazy? I mean, if she found out that this guy returns by death and she witnesses all of his deaths, wouldn't she just go crazy or something? And what about the witch Sasala? If she found out, will she kill Gluttony or kill Subaru instead? What the hell is going on, right? And yeah, and what about the black smoke? Because we know the only people who have this type of we saw this type of smoke right in the season 2 also, where he got out of the not the sanctuary but the trial, and he saw uh, the witch Envy. Yeah, when he got out and saw the witch Envy, and he just went crazy because he told somebody about return by death, right? Could it be the reason as to why Gluttony, you know, could could it be the Witch of Envy because Gluttony knows now about Return by Death, and now the witch is just going crazy? Or, yeah. Or could it be somebody who has access to the Shamak magic? Yeah, Shamak magic, because Subaru has access to it, right? But his is not clearly as powerful as this. So who else had access to that kind of power? Beatrice, but she's dead. But yeah, I don't really have an explanation for that. Shit, man. Him saying I don't wanna die and calling a lizard. He doesn't even know his name. Shit. And yeah, this is this only kind of a foreshadowing, right? As to what's going to happen at the last episode. Not last episode, but at the end of the episode, him just strangling Melee, right? You can see he only has the tendencies to do it. But yeah, and it's actually very smart when he talks about, I really like what I like about his character, right? Is he's actually very smart if you think about it. Even though he's going through all this crazy stuff, he still has a level head to know that, okay, let me just try to find out what's happening and try to do things differently this time. But yeah, I think it's just only a matter of time as to when they will catch on to, okay, this guy is not really the Subaru they know. But yeah, that would be very sad. It's like really reminds you of season 1, when he was it's kind of sad when he was afraid to getting killed, and like where it's like exactly in season 1, because Rem is also killing him now, and it was like Rem who killed him in season 1. It was like, and he was like, he was trying to please them and not make them mad, and if he made them mad, he was afraid of making them mad so they won't kill him, right? And he was like, fuck, I have to make them laugh and so on. I think the exact same thing will happen in these kind of loops. He will try to make everything perfect so he doesn't get killed. But yeah, it's only a matter of time before he just goes crazy. And yeah, when he tries to talk to Julius, and this guy doesn't know what the fuck is going on, he just going with it. He just going with the flow, and Julius is like, "What the fuck? We just talk about all this stuff, and he just bringing her up. He just bringing her up again." But yeah, Julius is like the character who he just fell from grace. He went from hero to zero. This guy, man, nobody knows this guy. And what's really interesting in the dynamic now, right? You remember Subaru as this guy who just got into this new world, and he was like Nobody knew this guy, and Julius was like the knight everyone liked, and he was like the great knight. And now it's exactly the opposite. Julius is just like a bum. He's like a bum, and nobody believes this guy's a knight, besides the outfit. And the only thing he had going for him was his strength. The only way he could prove he was still a knight was his strength, but he just got beat up by Reed. So I think his pride was very hurt, and now Subaru doesn't even remember him. So I think this guy will just go crazy. Maybe he will go. Maybe he will kill somebody, but I think ah maybe, who knows? It could be this guy just kills everybody also. This is just a mess. But yeah, you could just see he doesn't really know what's going on. He's just trying to get the information out of him. But if I was, in Super shoes, I would probably be most worried about this guy because he looks the strongest to me. If I see just a little girl and two pretty girls and a little girl and another pink hair girl, I would not worry so much about him. But if I see a guy with a sword, I'm like, fuck, maybe this guy just pushed me off or killed me. But yeah, and this bitch, man, I don't really trust this bitch. She's just crazy. She's just a crazy bitch. But I think she knows so much more than what I think she's playing a character. She's putting off this character, but there's something with her and Flugel, I think. She obviously think that Subaru is him, but I think she's putting some form of act because I don't really think she's that stupid. She's maybe testing him or something else. Or maybe she's just a robot. As soon as you leave the tower, she just becomes a completely different person. But yeah, she's definitely not human, this bitch. She's just crazy. She's crazy. But yeah, he's hugging her. She's actually very funny. He's actually closer to her now than he is with Emilia. He doesn't really have a reason to save the bitch Emilia, because yeah, it's not like in season one. In season one, at least he had a goal in season one where he was like, okay, I need to save this girl. She saved me, and I need to save her. That was like the whole relationship there. So he was kind of motivated, even though he died. He had like some form of reason. But here, he just got into this world, and he just got introduced to all these people, and he doesn't really know who they are. And they are telling him, "Oh, you did this, you did that," and he's like, "But I'm just a bum. I'm just a bum from high school." So yeah, I think that'll be one of the reason to his madness. I think because I think it will just be worse from here on. I don't think it will get better from this episode on. But yeah, you'll just get mad, I think. Yeah, you can see something is going on with her. You can't really trust her. And this probably probably the crazy part of the episode, right? Because here she tells him that they talked about something yesterday, and he just respawned, right? And yesterday was the day where he was like, okay, I need to go up. I have a I have a way to defeat Reed. And then you just find him passed out on the floor. So either it happened it happened after it didn't re- it happened before he was passed out. The thing she's saying, what you said to me yesterday. And is it the same him that said it? You know, because there's different kind of Subarus now, right? We have this one, the new one, and we have the old one, the one who went up the stairs with the plan. Yeah, and we have another one. It's like I don't know if it's another one or just the old Subaru because you know the voice in his head or something. The one who says the one who said, you know, who are you or something like that. There's some form of other person in his head, right? So either three persons or two. So it really isn't the new Subaru who said something to her yesterday. It probably is the old one. But what the hell could this possibly be? And out of all of the characters, why is she the one he had to use like his final words? Or maybe what's so important about her? And is it the reason as to why she is so calm, you know? Because you remember the other times the people were shocked, like you saw Julius, he was about to throw up. He was like, what the fuck is going on? When he announced that he lost his memories, right? But she was kind of calm and smiley and so on. Is it because she had some form of secret conversation with him before the passing out happened, or something else? Something weird is going on. But yeah, well, why was she the one? And why did he kill her after? Because this is a time skip, right? It's kind of, you know, you don't know how many days, but it could be a couple of hours have passed. Is not This is not in the past, right? This is in the future, and you can see the scars on his fingers, and yeah, him slapping her is is so funny because he's panicking so much, and you know the the way he just runs towards her, he just shocked, man, and you see the way he slaps. It's so funny, but yeah, and then he finds out it was him actually who did that. So what the fuck, right? It it adds another layer to the story, you know, because not only did he lose his memories, but there's another version of him living inside of him, you know. And there could be a different possibilities. Either it's just the old Subaru, the normal guy, you know, but why the hell would he just kill maybe and possibly other characters? We don't see the other characters, right? But why the hell would he stroke her to death? But that's one of the possibilities. Another one is gluttony, right? Because gluttony could possess people, and she maybe is messing with him, you know, because he doesn't really remember who's this guy Subaru. He doesn't really know himself or the person living in this fantasy world. He doesn't really know what kind of guy he becomes in that world. So maybe she's trying to convince him that the Subaru is just a monster, maybe, or this guy who's you know what I'm saying. But yeah, that could be one of the possibilities. Or it could be this new Subaru has just become so crazy that he just flips out. You know, he became so traumatized that he has like another version of him, a new one, not the old one, but a new one that just goes on a killing mode and just kills her. You know. But what could be the reason as to why? What what is the trigger? You know, what did she say as to why he wanted to kill her? But yeah, that could be one of the other possibilities. Is there more? It could also be something with Flugel, you know. We don't really know who Flugel is. Or is it another trial? Maybe, let's say it's another trial with Gluttony. Because maybe he met Gluttony somewhere or somehow. And she was like, okay, do you want Ram back? let's put it on a test or something. Let's see if you really want to save her, if you lost your memories or something, or let's see if you really want to save her if you lost your memories and I took control of her body and she was constantly killing you, will you still save her or something like that? And they are playing like this game where he dies and she knows he always resets every time he resets. She knows he resets, and yes, it's just the old Subaru is like playing chess with her, but the new one has to figure out some way to make this trial. You know what I'm saying? I don't. It just become too crazy. But yeah, mm, let me think. But it could also be another possibility that Ram, maybe it is the real Ram, but the real Ram has woken up with no memories like Subaru. So they both have no memories, and it's like Gluttony is putting like a test. They both have no memories. Let's see if you really like each other or something. You know what I'm saying? They both have no memories, but they end up killing each other or something crazy. I don't really know, man. Because it really fucked me up. Because what? Why will he? Is it like a message for himself? Like maybe the old Subaru is like still inside of him, but is sending a message to himself like I still exist and I'm still here or something like that. But why will the old Subaru kill Melee? Is it because this bitch is crazy, or is she working with Gluttony or some way, somehow? Or is this like a play Gluttony is making just to make him trip out, like you did this, but it's actually her controlling his body, making him do that? Because let's say this new Subaru had a new personality because he just got so crazy in the head that he just went on killing other some other characters like Melee, right? Why the hell will he cut himself and say Subaru was here to mess with himself? It doesn't really make sense, right? Maybe it could be, let's say this new Subaru killed her, and I hope you guys are following when I'm saying the new Subaru. I mean the one we see right here with no memories, right? Maybe he killed her. Yeah, he killed her, and some way somehow he passed out. So let's say he killed her. She was just acting crazy and it was suspicious, and he killed her, right? That's enough reason to kill people now, right? ReZero just got so crazy, he's just killing people just because they're suspicious now. But yeah, he just killed her off, and after he passed out some way. Maybe Gluttony made him pass out, or maybe another character made him pass out and carved his name on his arm to mess with him. Does that really make sense? Why, why will another character just write his name on his hand and say I was here? Doesn't really make sense. But yeah, that I think that the last scene really, because I don't really know who will do that, himself. But is is the old Subaru testing the new Subaru, or is both the old Subaru and Gluttony both testing the new Subaru and they both are betting on him, right? Let's say the old Subaru is betting on the new Subaru to save everybody, but Gluttony is hoping to show another side of Subaru, maybe showing him that these bonds he had with people and so on doesn't really matter as much. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a game between those two. Yeah, maybe a game between those two, but that doesn't really explain as to why. Because the old Subaru will not fuck himself over this much, He will just carve on his hand Subaru's head. It's like, where's the positive benefit of that, Just messing with his head. And Gluttony will probably have a reason for it. So it really makes more sense if it was Gluttony messing with his head. Or somehow, some way, Flugel, this guy Flugel is cooking some shit up, I don't know. Or maybe it could be the whole tower, the dragon we see. He's probably on the last level, right? He's maybe the he's maybe the one controlling the tower, making all these things happen to Subaru. Maybe it's all a big test for him. But yeah, shit just got crazy. But yeah, do I have more to say? Mhm. But I'll definitely say, if I had a suspicion list, right, Charlotte would be up there. She's crazy. I don't really trust her, all this clingy girl or this crazy in love with you girl. I don't think it's true. So she's definitely up there, and I don't trust. But I like Ram, right? But this bitch is fucked up. Ram is fucked up. When we see Subaru traumatized, and she's like, I feel bad for Ram, and she's like, fuck, she doesn't. That's messed up. But she is very cold. She could be very cold, but I think deep down, she's the one hurting. We see her, when they are like, when her and Subaru was alone, and she's like, tell me everything. It came from her heart. She was like, fuck. If you don't remember Rem, who's going to save her? So maybe I think her words are very harsh. That's why it could come out as crazy. But deep down, I don't think she's that messed up. At least not that. Every character in ReZero is messed up. And almost every character has tried to kill Subaru or killed him. So yeah, you can't really say much. Even Subaru, he's also messed up. That's one of the reasons I like the show, because it really shows the dark side of characters. But you still love them, you still like them because you know where they come from. You know it doesn't really happen randomly. Is those events, those events accumulating up is leading to that moment. They are not evil just to be evil. But yeah, but do I have future predictions for next episode or just in general? Okay, for Super, I think he's long lost. He's game over for this guy. I think the difficulty level has just risen like 10 levels after this, because you're saying he's has to deal with external problems, but also internally. He can't really, imagine you have a problem and you can't really control your body anymore also. So sometimes I think it will happen more often. I think I'll predict this will happen more often. We will just go black. The screen will just go black, and we just see dead bodies everywhere. And he's like, "What the hell is even going on?" And somebody himself or somebody else just controls him. Yeah, and just does crazy stuff. But do I have predictions for? But let me just say this: Subaru is long lost. Who nobody could save him right now. He's just messed up in the head, man. Do I have future predictions for Melee? Something. She's more important than you think, because the conversations she had with Subaru, we don't really know what the hell they're talking about, but she had to be important enough for him to talk with her alone. You know what I'm saying? For him to talk with her alone. about something important. Could it be related to how Rem is going back, or how to defeat Reed, or how to defeat Gluttony? Are they going to do it together? What's with her? And yeah, but maybe will she die again by strangling by Subaru in the future? Who knows? But yeah, but Subaru, I also saw a picture of Subaru strangling another character. So a slight spoilers I saw. You can't really avoid spoilers in the pictures and edits you see, but it's really not big spoilers. But I've seen him strangling on other characters, so I think he will just descend to madness. This guy. I saw him strangling. I think was it Gluttony or something? Can't really remember. But yeah, strangling Gluttony. What the hell? Maybe it was a fake picture. Who knows? It was like maybe a kink or some form of weird picture. I don't really know. But yeah, what is my protection for Shola? Maybe Shola knows so much, but yeah, she's lying. This bitch is lying. And everything going on with her and Flugel. Uh this she's my top three suspicions list. She's like a school shooter. She's crazy. And why the hell did she save him at the beginning? If he can't leave the tower, so let's say he leaves the tower. She said she will kill everybody. Is he included on that list, or is she just going to kill everybody but try to make him come back in the tower so he just stays there forever? And is Frugal really Subaru? Because that means that they have talked to each other before, and he was the one who created her. She's like a robot programmed to do everything. Maybe he pro- programmed her this specific way to not tell him so much. Only after a specific time she will like change characters or maybe tell him more. And future predictions for Julius, this guy. I think this whole thing that's going on with Julius, I think it will be like arc 3. Yeah, arc 3 with like him. Subaru and him, the roles are reversed, right? And we see after Subaru was defeated by Julius, that's when he descends to, becoming the worst version of himself, right? I think it will be the same for Julius. You'll see him go downhill after this, right? Just for, uh, do I really see him killing another person? Uh, because he's like so proud and but I think he will have like a dissension, just like Subaru had in Arc 3. But yeah. But I think it will something will happen between those two. They will hate each other because I think it's just naturally right. The Subaru we see go into in Arc 1 we see excuse me shit. The Subaru we see in Arc 1, he naturally hates guys like Julius. He naturally hates guys like Julius and the strong knights because he's like somewhat envious, right? Because he he's like the version he wants to be. Julius is like the version Subaru wants to be, but he can't really be that. He's not that gifted. But yeah, so I think there's some form of natural what the hell? But a natural what the hell? Can't really find the word, but yeah, they will definitely hate each other. I think in the future. And this bitch, Echidna or whatever, this I really hope Anastasia comes back, see her talking to the other characters and shit because I actually prefer her over this, empty vessel because she just boring, I'd rather see Anastasia go through all of this, it will be much more fun. But I think, I remember, you remember in episode 1 or 2 when, let me just go forward to, or back, I mean, can't really find an image. Let me find an image of Anastasia or Echidna or whatever. Yeah, but you remember in the first episode, she was like, "Okay, we will work together." Right after she told Subaru that, like, "Okay, I'm like a spirit," and she was like, "I want a way to turn her back to normal, right?" And she was kind of joking. I can't really remember exactly what she said, but she was kind of joking, like, "Oh, it will just come down to whoever, whoever first, or whatever, whoever first." You know what I'm saying? Whoever first, because he wants to save Rem, and she wants to save Anastasia, right? And she was like, "It comes down to whoever is first," or something like that. I think it will create some form of killing. Let's say, just say that. I think maybe when it comes down to it, maybe she could betray him or something. She also talked about it, where in the stairs scene. I think it was in the last episode where he was running down the stairs. He was like, no, when he overheard them talking about, "Oh, should we just not trust him anymore because he lost his memory?" She was the one who brought it up, this bitch. So you can't really trust her. These two, you can't trust them. So these two, you can't trust. And this guy you can't trust this guy. But this guy can't even trust himself anymore. This guy, he lost the plot. I think if you give this guy more episode, Julius, you can't really trust him anymore. He will just lose himself. I think the person really needs to trust right now is like the spirit Beatrice, because I don't you can't trust Emilia, right? But this bitch, she will just turn into Sattler any moment, like in season 2. She will just go crazy. I think the safest option is go with Beatrice. So I think maybe the predictions are in a couple more in the next more loops. I think the people he will trust more will maybe be Beatrice. And yeah, I think the person he will not trust, surprisingly, will be Emilia, right? Because she is the kind of sweet person, and she won't she really won't kill Super, right? But I think when he sees the Witch of Envy and how she looks like Emilia, and as soon as he sees that, he's like, "Bitch, you need to get the fuck away from me." He wouldn't listen to any explanations. He's like, "Bitch, get the fuck away from me." As soon as he sees that the Witch of Envy looks exactly like her, he will just think, yeah, it's Emilia, right? So Beatrice is the safest option, and Julius, I think he will hate him. Subaru will just hate Subaru. And likewise also, even though Julius looks up to Subaru, I think maybe the envy will come to him after everybody just showers this guy with, praise, and this guy, just a random person, he will just lose his identity. And mainly this bitch, who is she? She's the most random character out of this group is probably Melee, because what the hell is even her role and why she's so important? And Ram, man, Ram. I'll say the characters who has it worse is of course Subaru, right? But maybe she's like number 2, I think, because This guy has no reason to save Remy. He's like, who the fuck is that bitch? And she's like, she's my sister. You can't remember me? You can't remember her? The fuck? Oh, what we here for? He's like, bitch, I need to get the fuck out, man. Fuck you and your sister, man. And she'll just, man, all of these characters will just lose it, man. The fuck. And even Beatrice, she's like, I forgot. I remember this guy in season 2 was like, oh, I'll show you the best I can be, and I don't know, this whole speech, and this guy just forgets her. This guy forgets her. He's like, who's this lolly, man? Who's this bitch? And you can really tell she's hurt. But I think for her, it's more, the other characters is more like they will descend to madness. Like Julius, I think he will maybe, and Ram, she's maybe also, maybe. But her is more like sadness. She won't try to kill somebody. She'll try to maybe protect Subaru, but it's like she will just be sad. And Emilia, fuck her. There's something. Emilia, eh? I don't really know with Emilia, man. I think, if you really think about it, Emilia is the only one I think that'll try to keep the sane head. Be the reasonable person. She would maybe remember in season 2, Subaru was the one in Sanctuary trying. No, it was actually uh, Emilia passing the trial, right? It maybe could be another thing where Emilia is the only one because she's the only one who has access to the trials. So maybe she's the one who will save everybody in the end. Much like how Subaru saved her. Damn. Much like how Subaru saved her in the first season. Yeah. Maybe she'll be the one, having the main character moment. But yeah. I don't really know how they will pass the trial, man. This guy really is too strong. But I think it will be Julius, man. He really deserves it. Julius has to be the one, slaying Reed. Taking back his knight identity. So let's say Julius is the one who defeats Reed. Subaru is the one who defeats Gluttony. And I think Emilia will be the one passing the trial. It makes sense, right? Yeah. But I don't know what the hell is going to happen, man. I've seen some slight spoilers, right? But I don't really want to talk about it until they happen because is small spoilers, right? But I really don't know if they are true. You can't really call it spoilers because I just seen fan art and pictures. Because I can tell you, I was a fan since there was only one season. So it was very hard to keep me off the spoilers and. Yeah, it's very hard, man. Back when there was only one season and you didn't really know if there's another season coming or just, yeah. So I got some slight spoilers, I'll say, but coming in this season, still with some little bit spoilers, is still like is ReZero is like you can't really predict it. Even though this guy is going to, if you've seen pictures of him going up the stairs, is saying he will kill everybody. You will expect, okay, this guy will go up, try to kill everybody. Let me go forward. And you will think, okay, this guy will go up trying to kill somebody, and then you see Charlotte just dead. I'll not predict that. I'll not predict that at all. And I also saw a picture of him strangling Melee like a long time ago. And I thought this scene will happen. I thought this scene will happen right after he will climb up the stairs and like the first person he saw is like strangling the shit out of her. But I didn't really think it will happen this way. But yeah, really interesting. But yeah, I think that's all. I really hoped it wasn't too long. But yeah, yeah, bye. That was all.